Key point 1. You are more than your temperament or mood. Have you ever been in a relationship where you feel drained for a few days after an argument while your partner gets over the fight quickly? They cannot grasp how you can stay so grumpy about an altercation that occurred a few hours ago. Their feelings may not differ from yours, but their reaction does. At school, children usually take personality tests to figure out their temperament. Nevertheless, such evaluation rarely reflects their true identity. For example, a person can be melancholic and still accept life changes optimistically. So, such quizzes can be misleading as one's personality extends beyond any moods, traits, or temperament. Richard J. Davidson discovered that emotional styles dramatically affect behavior and character. These sensitive patterns have 6-dimension scales, and your position on each determines your personality. These emotional styles are: resilience, reflects how long it takes to return to your feet after something unfortunate happens. Outlook, determines whether you can stay positive in your day-to-day life with its challenges and pitfalls. Social intuition signifies how effectively you decode signals from the people around you. Self-awareness shows how well you know your body. Sensitivity to context refers to distinguishing your contexts and behavior accordingly. And attention stands for the ability to stay focused as long as needed. Emotional styles are building blocks for moods, traits, and temperaments. A combination of emotional styles forms a trait. For instance, if you are impulsive, you're on the negative extreme of attention and self-awareness. This tidbit will teach you how to accept yourself and make your life more comfortable by acknowledging and transforming your emotional styles. Key point 2. We should praise differences instead of looking for similarities. When people want to change themselves to be better parents or succeed at work, they look for psychological advice in books, magazines, or even a psychiatrist's office. Most likely, they receive some trivial methods used many times before. Just as medicine, advice on mental care is mass-produced. You take a pill that is supposed to help because it cured your cousin or your grandma, and bummer, it doesn't affect you, and you are back to point A. The problem lies in the approach. Most people believe being similar is better than being different because society tends to judge people as outsiders. Thus, you can struggle to fit in all your life, sometimes sacrificing your most extraordinary traits. Psychiatrists and mental health advisors can also get into this trap of generalization. They forget that just as human DNA differs from person to person, so do emotional styles. So their advice should be as personalized as a medical prescription. Just as each person has a unique fingerprint and a unique face, each of us has a unique emotional profile. People from similar backgrounds have distinct reactions to life events. For example, when 2 siblings lose their jobs, one gets over it and finds a new one, while the other falls into depths of despair and self-loathing. The reactions of people from various backgrounds differ even more drastically. Imagine while waiting for your flight at the airport, you hear that it has been postponed or canceled. How would you react? Your emotional style often determines whether you will cry, scold the administrator, or seize the opportunity to spend more time with the loved one you're saying goodbye to. Since every person has a different emotional style, it's natural that you'll find all emotions in such a situation, adding to it your unique reaction. The colorful blend of people's emotions and reactions makes a balanced and harmonious society. Emotional styles demonstrate why some people offer a helping hand, while others can scarcely pull themselves together. Understanding the diversity of human reactions can prevent you from judging others and assist in acknowledging their individuality. Key point 3. Sometimes we need acceptance more than we need change. Society often criticizes and labels people without acknowledging their emotional style. For example, individuals who are good with computers but not confident in social interactions are called geeks or sociopaths, even though they are self-sufficient and mentally healthy. They are effective workers, and their families admire them. Their emotional style does not make these individuals inferior. They are valuable due to their specific emotional dimensions. The lack of mutual understanding brings about hostility and judgment. Instead, people should strive to accept others and themselves as they are. Even if you're not satisfied with who you are, there's always room for change. Since your brain is constantly developing due to neuroplasticity, your expressive style can also change, unconsciously or intentionally. However, the extent you can move on each dimensional scale is limited. To find out how drastically one's emotional style can change, Richard J. Davidson ran tests on newborns. Since they cannot fake emotions like adults, the outcomes of these experiments were more credible. He used their sense of taste as a yardstick for measuring emotions. The researcher discovered that the brain's right frontal lobe is responsible for negative emotions. Further, he found the left side deals with positive feelings. Finally, the results proved that a tendency to certain emotional styles is built into your brain from birth. Thus, you can be naturally predisposed to being optimistic or pessimistic. It does not mean that one can feel joy from an event and the other cannot, but rather how great that pleasure will be for each of them. People can feel the same emotion, but the extent one feels it is purely individual. So both get a funny joke, but the intensity of their reactions can vary. One person may smile politely, while another will be rolling in the aisles. Thus, emotional styles and their unique combinations embedded into your brain are vital for society. You should not strive for change as much as you should learn acceptance. After all, if Hemingway or Van Gogh had more social cognition and a more positive outlook, you might have missed out on some legendary works of art. Key point 4. The best way to rule your life is to know yourself. Knowing where you are on the dimension scale will help you better understand yourself and build your life in tune with your needs and desires. So let's see how different emotional styles influence your choices and behavior. Resilience. Imagine arguing with your colleague. Would you be grumpy and irritated the whole day after? If so, then you are slow to heal from adverse life events. On the contrary, people who quickly get back on their feet after a setback are fast to recover. Your brain makes sure that any emotions weaken with time, and the amount of time that needs to pass for you to feel better denotes how resilient you are. You can check your resilience by asking yourself questions like, if I go to a new place to eat, but the food is terrible, will it ruin my evening? Outlook. Do you know those people who always smile and say, "Hey, stay positive," even when the situation seems hopeless? They are the positive extreme of the outlook dimension. These individuals remain optimistic and manage to feel joy for a long time. Negative people form the other extreme. A durable, pessimistic state can become clinical depression with a lack of energy and an inability to feel joy. An imbalance in the outlook dimension can obstruct a better life. Imagine you have to move to another city. Would you consider it a new chance or see it as a terrifying experience? If you recall your reactions to situations like this, you will be able to place yourself on the scale of the outlook dimension. Self-awareness. How aware are you of your heartbeat? Do you notice when it's faster or slower? If yes, then chances are that you are self-aware. It means that you can put your emotions into words. Moreover, you can differentiate the sensations when upset with your partner. Hence, you don't take out your frustration on your loved ones. Self-awareness saves us from putting responsibility for our feelings and emotions on someone else's shoulders. Communicating feelings can be frustrating for people with low self-awareness. They deny their feelings or struggle to express them. They can cry even after shouting at you, claiming they weren't raising their voice. Self-aware people tend to be better listeners. They know how to support you and are good at helping themselves. Key point 5. Many dimensions depend on the awareness of ourselves and our surroundings. Emotional styles influencing your social life rely on your awareness during interactions. To make any conversation effective, you should be able to read your partner. The more observant you are, the more successful your communication will be. Social intuition. Can you tell what emotions a person is feeling at any moment? If yes, then you must have excellent social intuition. Socially intuitive people are more empathetic and can effortlessly put themselves into someone else's shoes. People on the other extreme are ignorant of their social surroundings. They cannot tell others' emotions and don't get hints or humor. Communicating with such people can be a real challenge. For instance, imagine that a colleague approached you after work. You want to leave and express it by repeatedly glancing at your watch. However, they don't understand this sign and go on and on about their kid's success. To check how good you are at social intuition, notice how often you meet people's eyes. The brain area responsible for social cognition activates when you look into one's eyes. So if you often avert your gaze, you should practice and improve reading people's emotional signs. Sensitivity to context. Do you ever talk to your boss as if they were your friend? If you established respectful communication at work, you did it right. You are sensitive to the context and can differentiate which words and actions are appropriate for the situation. Being insensitive to context affects your work-life balance more than you can think. If at home, you keep bossing everyone around as you do at your workplace, or, on the contrary, you're too intimate with your colleagues, you are tuned out. The inability to differentiate between contexts can lead to conflicts and eventually deteriorate all the relationships. Attention. Attention is a critical dimension since it determines the quality of your self-awareness and social intuition. To be sensitive to social signals, you must be attentive enough to notice them. Being attentive means focusing on the task and not getting distracted by triggers like sounds or thoughts. It can also mean being aware and non-judgmental. Attention is the dimension that suffers the most with the introduction of social media. Did you know? Scientists claim that an average person can stay focused for only 15 to 20 minutes. This limitation poses a significant obstacle to productive mental work. Key point 6. You can be born grumpy, but it's up to you whether you stay a grouch. Based on experiments taken from the DNA of twins, Richard J. Davidson concluded that the types of temperament and emotional styles are genetic and come with a DNA package. You are born outgoing, brave, or pessimistic, but other factors also affect your personality. Experiences, upbringing, and society affect you more than you can imagine. Genes load the gun, but only the environment can pull the trigger. Richard J. Davidson. So, if you were born a timid or grumpy child, it doesn't mean you have to be a grouchy adult. Your brain is elastic and it transforms throughout life. Although people change unconsciously, they can also transform their brains intentionally. You may be okay with your emotional states, but what if they start affecting your health? You must understand your position on each dimension scale and act effectively in every situation. Psychosomatic medicine proved that outlook affects your physical state. For example, positive thinking is beneficial if it does not stop you from getting the necessary help and treatment. Optimists often postpone medical checkups until the problem is apparent. Sometimes they can ignore signs of disease, stating, "It's nothing serious, I'm fine." Such excessive and unreasonable hope can bring dramatic consequences. In the long run, however, those with negative thinking are more prone to various ailments. Content people have a stronger immune system and more energy to care for themselves. That is often the reason why they are healthier than others. The connection between body and mind goes both ways. You can affect your mind through your body. For example, if you keep smiling when you feel sad, there's a great chance you'll feel better. Lowering the corners of your mouth will make you feel miserable. Richard J. Davidson discovered that Botox injections could save you from negative emotions because Botox paralyzes frown lines. The scientist studied 41 women before and after the injection. After the procedure, experimentees felt less negative emotions since they couldn't express them facially. Such bidirectional connection of body and mind broadens the horizons of understanding and control you can have over your health. Hence, you don't have to agree with your DNA if you don't want to. In many cases, you get to choose who you want to be. Key point 7. We all need the emotional dimensions, but the extremes may be dangerous. As it is said, everything is good in moderation. If your outlook lies in the extreme negative extreme, you could be in danger of depression or even prone to suicide. Conversely, you can have bipolar disorder or substance addiction if you are on the positive extreme. You cannot change like day changes to night. After all, you are naturally prone to one extreme more than another. But with the right approach, you can at least travel to the middle or even a bit further. In trying to transform your emotional style, you should also see the disadvantages of each extreme. If you are very low on the self-awareness scale, you need to realize your needs and how to care for yourself properly. However, if you are on the other end of the spectrum, you can perceive the slightest sensation in the body as a fatal disease, especially if you Google it. People who are too self-aware tend to overthink, so change wisely. All is medicine and poison. It depends on the quantity. Nevertheless, you can always change your emotional style if you want to. Let's see how it works. When your outlook is gloomy, develop the habit of complimenting yourself and others. Learn to notice better than worse. If you're too optimistic and get addicted quickly, tempt yourself with the object of your addiction. For example, if you are a shopaholic, wander around the supermarket but do not buy anything. Such mental practice will train your muscle of delayed gratification. Soon, you'll notice that you enjoy saving money for something more valuable and stop wasting it for instant pleasure. You can change any dimension you want by changing your habits. For instance, to be more socially intuitive, pay attention to how people talk and express their feelings. As an additional practice, try to overhear someone's discussion and listen to how they switch their tone and pitch. If you want to be less socially intuitive, avoid eye contact and don't focus on people's gestures and facial expressions. Adjust your environment in such a way that there are fewer distractions. For example, switch to a more private corner if you work or study in a public place. Thus, you are open to any expressive style. With some effort, you can balance your emotions and avoid dimensional extremes. Key point 8. If you want to change your emotional styles, practice meditation. Mindfulness and meditation can turn your half-empty glass into a half-full one. To shift on any emotional scale, learn to breathe and observe without judging. Adjusting your surroundings can also bring slight but stable alterations to your emotional dimensions. Suppose you are so self-aware that the easiest pinch in your body makes you call the doctor, or so out of sync that you cannot understand your body's needs. In that case, mindfulness meditation can help. Move your focus from toe to head. Feel the sensations in your body and notice your thoughts come and go without judgment. The best way to practice focus is focused attention meditation, focusing and keeping your attention on an object for 10 minutes or longer. It helps with selective attention, the ability of a person to concentrate on one thing and not notice anything else. For example, when you're driving, you focus on the road, signs, or traffic lights, and you may not hear the song playing or how the seatbelt is tight on your chest. You can also organize your space to avoid distractions. To lessen the focus, try breathing meditation. 1. Inhale. 2. Let every thought pass through your mind. 3. Notice your thoughts and let them go. 4. Refrain from concentrating on anything specific. If you're slow to recover from a setback, try to stop the flow of excessive negative thoughts and find a more humane and less personalized reason for the failure. For example, if you make a mistake, do not scold yourself. You're human and are supposed to make them. Tell yourself that you slipped up because it was a hard day, not because you're a total failure. Negative self-talk brings negative results into your life. You can meditate for compassion if you cope with challenging situations too fast. Visualize some close person who is having problems or is suffering and try to feel their pain as though it was yours. The dearer this person is to you, the more effective this meditation will be. Meditation also helps when you struggle to understand context. If your professional domain affects your family life, visualize yourself at work. Envision solving issues with your boss or finishing a challenging project. Then you will be ready and more confident in what you will do when the context changes again. Conclusion: emotional styles are the essential base of any personality. You should not try to mimic other people's temperament or traits because you think yours are not good enough. After all, everyone brings something valuable to society with their unique emotional patterns. So know where you are on each dimensional scale to accommodate your life accordingly. However, if your expressive style makes your life uncomfortable or affects your health, there's a need for change. You can transform yourself and your life with the help of meditation. Richard J. Davidson traveled to the Tibetan mountains and spoke to the Dalai Lama to observe people who had practiced meditation for several years. His study of their brains found that the ancient mental exercise of meditation can balance the life of short-on-time students and busy adults. He also found that it affords beneficial results even if practiced only 20 minutes a day. Finally, meditation is a free and accessible tool for all who desire a harmonious and happy life. Give it a chance if you want to transform your mindset and well-being. Try this. 1. Take a piece of paper and draw the lines representing each dimension. Then number the beginning with the number 1 and the end with the number 10. 2. Put a dot on each scale representing how you see yourself on each dimensional scale. 3. Write down all the pros of each dimension that you want to change. Do you still want to change it? 4. If yes, then write what negative consequences the change can bring. And 5. If you still want to change that dimension after this exercise, you will be motivated and it will help you get your desired effect.